Good afternoon. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. So here we are. Not much has changed except for this now S&P range is going probably on 13 days or 13 sessions versus 12. But at least there's been a lot of things to keep us busy. Now I know oil's been a headwind and we've tried a few trades since Thursday's oil number. Remember I was in a little bit and got stopped out, and then Friday had a red dog reversal, good day trade, but then if you took it in today, you know, you had to get out pretty fast, and if you're on the VTF, you saw that within the first 15 minutes was out, and that's how you get out of trades and lose a little and salvage, so you could, you know, maybe do it again before we get to oil and before we get to the tech winners and some of the nice strategies from my note. Let's go right to the S&P, because, you know, not as much has changed except for it's very choppy. Like, I'm not in the S&P overnight just because I don't feel like there's an edge here right now. You know, we're still above this 2-year range. We're playing with the 8-day. I don't know if it's distribution. I don't know if they don't want anybody to get on the next leg. For me, you know what? I don't need to be in it. Okay, it's not, you know, giving you any kind of reward. If you buy high, you're not getting rewarded. And if you've been shorting below the 8-day, you're not getting rewarded. And with this type of close, you know, or close to this close, no need to be in it. You could be in some names that you like, you know, but I wouldn't be in this for now. Even if we gap up, who cares? You know, here's the 21-day underneath. We'll figure out if this holds or not. We go into the IWM, also very choppy. There's been really not much opportunity ever since breaking above this pennant formation and giving you this beeline up. You know, there hasn't been much here in the 8-day. Yes, it's grinded up, made little incremental new highs, but nothing really going on, just holding the 8-day with not a lot of good action. The sector that did give you good trading action has been the IBBs. You know, the IBBs at least played by rules. What do red dog rules mean? You know, technically did things that made it easy or easier to stay with the move. Okay, this was day one. Let me just give you a little technical analysis 101. Here was your engulfing bar. What does engulfing bar mean? It means you had this inside range after a move off the lows that closed above 5, 6, 7 sessions. So what does that tell me? It tells me power. So power means take it home. You got a little follow through. Great. From down here needed to digest. So what happened to make this tradable? It then came in and held the 8-day. Didn't break the 8-day, didn't close underneath the 8-day, held it, and then gave you another nice, powerful move. Okay, then it opened down, held halfway, now here you are above the 200-day. So that's a tradable, methodical move. So as I'm talking about tradable, methodical moves, thank goodness Apple gave us one, you know, after earnings. You didn't have to take it into earnings. You know, my earnings strategy was, you know, if it gets above 100 to 101, chances are you could buy it. You know, especially after they came out with a report that was pretty good compared to what the estimates were, you know, ahead of what could be a much better cycle. So that day in the recap, I'm like, I am buying this stock. I held it after hours and I've had it since. Then I tried to post tradable setups. What does Red Dog mean by tradable setups? Situations that make it easy for you to hold and add. What do I mean by that? Let's do a little Apple Trading 101. Okay, what do I mean by Apple Trading 101? First of all, this has been locked in a downtrend. It has not been a real focus for a long time. Why? High, lower high, below the 200-day, pushed up below the 200-day. So when it gapped up above this prior double top here, or whatever this was, 2 resistance points, it gave me some clues to be long it. So what did I say? Let's be long versus the earnings pivot. What's an earnings pivot? The low of the print. So earnings came out on Tuesday. You know, didn't trade phenomenally. And remember on the close they sold it down, but held above the 200-day. The next day, this low here was 102.75. This low here was 102.82, held by 7 cents. Okay, so my long stayed good, and then we added to that, and I held it the entire day. So then what happened on Friday? An inside day. Did it fall apart? Did it go back down here? Did it stop everyone out and be a trap? No. It held higher. Okay, it held above the top third of that range, and actually if you look at the 5-minute chart, you'll see it held above the 15-minute support that it was holding, like 103.50 that day. Put a low in it at 103.68, higher than that 103.50, and then today you could have been a buyer, you know, above that little 5-minute high of 105 or 104, sorry, 104, like 67. That's where I added to it, and then it stayed strong all day. We also bought calls. On this day, I bought calls because in my mind, I said, you know what Apple could do? Apple, especially if they come out with their iPhone 7 in early September versus late September, you know, I would think it breaks this downtrend, which I guess you could say it did. And why can't this thing see with a buyback and with dividend, et cetera, and it's so under-owned and everyone get out of it while everyone was saying the last quarter was going to be horrendous? Okay, why couldn't it see a move, I think I put on the chart, to at least try and test this gap of 108 and maybe get to 112? So I went out and on the VTF, I bought the 105s. Bought the 105s on this day, stayed with my stock, so this way I could just hold it and not worry about it. Today I sold 20% of it. Okay, I think I bought them at 90 cents. I sold them above 155, and I still have 2/3 where if we can get by midweek near this 108, I might be done with it and then revisit. But all in all, this is what you call a methodical trade. Holding the post-earnings pivot, getting above the 200-day, holding top third, breaking out and closing on highs. I'm still long some equity, and I'm still long 2/3 the options. Let's hope we get a little bit more follow-through tomorrow. So that was the Apple trade. I tried to update it on Twitter as much as possible with charts, and people yelling at me saying, I'm posting sales, where's your buys? And Twitter sometimes, you know what, it could be very frustrating, and that's why I guess, whatever, let's not even get into that. So another thing we focused on in my note is certain pivots. Okay, the pivot in Facebook, the pivot in Amazon, and the pivot in Google. What were we going to do around those pivots? Okay, and actually Netflix, that inside range. So, off the top of my head, because I can remember pivots, I can't remember friggin' taking out the garbage on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think Facebook was 123.62. Google with an L, Google, was 790. And where are we going to hold 755 in Amazon? And could we take out 93.10 in Netflix? Those are 4 pivots that I don't have a teleprompter anywhere. It's just, that's how prepared I am and how I go over it so many times to help get you guys prepared. So let's go through them. First, Facebook, what did it do? Traded below this pivot here, okay, which gave you a cute short early on, then held the 8-day. That's been the trend, so I got a little long it. Okay, it sold off after earnings, after a big move. Day one, worth, as an active, actionable trade, a little bit of a buy. Not a heavy tier, but, potential to continue and resume the trend. Okay, that's Facebook. Amazon never got down to that 755, held in there, held the prior breakout, still looks pretty good, actually made a new high. It's not extended, maybe that continues. Google gave you a 2-sided trade around the pivot. It went below, okay, the 790. Okay, it went below 790 for about 5 minutes. Hit a low of 785, gave you a quick cute trade. We call that a cute trade against the trend. Okay, and then, and then just took it back and gave you a quick 13 points, tried to take out the prior high and gave you a wide range candle. So, you could have made money on both sides of that trade, but you had to be friggin' quick. If you look a little bit closer at the 5-minute, you'll see, here it was, traded below, came back above it, so you had to be, just lightning fast, and then just did a whole lot of nothing the rest of the day. But if you knew your pivot, traded below, could have filled the gap, could have went lower, could have been a bad, whatever, I'm being a little dramatic. But no, came below, came back above it. They respected the gap and gave you a quick move, which was pretty fast, back up to 806-ish. So there was that. Okay, and then Netflix, a totally different trade. Okay, Netflix to me, a little bit in the penalty box. There was a big insider buying. There's a gap up that got defended, so put it on my radar. So right now, Netflix, as a trade, it's not a leader. Okay, a lot of lower highs. Okay, it's not making highs. It's not leading the market, but you know what? Netflix sometimes, regroups and comes back. What would be the first step to regroup and come back? Holding a gap. What did you have there? Day one, gap up sideways. Took out the range. In my morning note, which you guys could all have if you go to Redler All Access, it's friggin', I think it's like $5 a day or whatever the cost is. But anyway, here it is. Trigger 1 was above this high here, which was 91.75. Trigger 2 was above this, which was 93.10, and it closed relatively strong. And we'll see if there's more follow through tomorrow. Nice day trade. Maybe took third home. I'm still long some of that. And I'm going lightning fast. Baba, still in those options. It's been trading around. It was pretty strong today. I still think that this level here is going to break to the upside. Okay, at some point. Earnings are until next week. Here is that big 85 level. Last time we had a nice trade was right here when it broke above this range. Okay, I bought it in here. That's when I bought the options, and we traded it a few times. I'm not long the stock. I'm still in the options. I think at some point this breaks to the upside. Another day or so, maybe it actually even tries to get above this beforehand. We shall see. It's been quiet. It woke up today. And then lastly, again, oil. Oil, I tried it on Thursday, lost money. Got long it on Friday, made money. Took home a portion of it on Friday into today, lost money. It's been kind of choppy. The USO, another new low. It's been a broken trend. That's why we don't sit in it. It broke this trend here, went back below the 8 and 21 day there, gave you downside follow through here. So now into this spot, I've been trying a little bit. Okay, little paper cuts, not a gusher. There's no reason to take a gusher here. Okay, so we'll see what's next. I've been going with the UWTI, gave you a little bit of a red dog reversal, and then did a whole lot of nothing. Closed on lows, no reason to have it, even if it gaps up. This was your pivot, bought decent amount, took some overnight. As soon as it broke this prior low here, I said I'm out. I'm not playing this game. Maybe we'll play this game tomorrow with this being the pivot, depending on how we open. Extended from this and extended from that. Lots of money to be made if you were on the short side. If you're on the short side tonight, I think you're playing with fire. I think it's very oversold. All right, that's it. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I know Goldman Sachs said reduce equities for the next 3 months. That means they're saying, let's say what they're saying here. Okay, let's see how they contradict this. They're saying it's August. So they're saying don't be in stocks for the next 3 months. Okay, August, September, October. Historically bad time of year. So we'll see. We'll see if how that works out. They also said sell in May and go away, and that was when the S&P I think was at 2,060, and now we're at 2160, 100 handles. If you were short because of their call, chances are you made no money in the last few months and you've been miserable with the world. Let's wait for the market to confirm a little bit of weakness, and how that happens is a decisive trade and close below that 8-day, and then we'll see what happens at the 21-day, and we'll see what leaders do, because as of now, there's been a nice rotation, and you're better off following the money, looking for setups versus looking for a top. Have a good night.